Hello students, what's up? I hope everyone is fine and safe during this pandemic. Now you are watching Revision Learning. Students, we perceive almost 80% objects of the world around us by using our sense of sight. But why our eyes don't see anything in the dark? The answer to this is light. We are able to see different objects because of the light coming from these objects. Light is the electromagnetic radiation within the portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that can be perceived by the human eye. Today we are going to learn about this light and its different aspects and objects from our Joyshankar sir. He will teach you about the light and its importance in our daily life. So without wasting any time, let's directly join to Sir Joyshankar's class.
Hello students, good evening. Myself Joyshankar De, class 8 science teacher. Today on 18th September 2020 Friday, I am going to start our last chapter, chapter 16, light. Now student, before starting this chapter, I must will say one question, that what is light? Normally we can say that candle, then tube light, bulb, these are light, but actually student, these are not light. These are the example or elements of light. If we enter in a dark room, we cannot see anything, but when we switch on the bulb or a tube, then everything can be seen. That is light. Tube and bulb are not the light, though it is called tube light or bulb, but it is not the light exactly. They are the elements of light, which means the sources of light. We can say that sources of light. Light is an invisible energy which causes in us the sensation of vision. When the light falls on any object, it bounces off the surface of the object in all directions. This is called diffusion of light, which means student, light is an invisible energy which causes sensation of vision, and when light falls into any object, it bounces back. It is called the diffusion of light. Next part is student, reflection of light. Now what is the reflection of light? Suppose student, there is an experiment in page number B91 16.1. You can see that a person is standing with a mirror and it reflects the sunlight into the wall. This is called reflection. But now I am explaining you how the reflection takes place. Student, here are given 3 points. Student, the first point defines that the ray of light may be returned by the second optical medium into the first optical medium with the change in angle. This phenomenon is called the reflection of light. Now look student, look this picture. Sun ray is traveling through air. This is first optical medium and it is bouncing back from the mirror. The mirror has a plane surface or polished surface, and the sunlight reflected from the mirror into the wall. The mirror is the second optical medium. Point number 2, the ray of light may get absorbed by the medium. Point number 3, the ray may pass through the second optical medium with a change in angle. This phenomenon is called the reflection of light. Student, if the reflecting surface is smooth or polished, then the reflection takes place. It is called the regular reflection. And if the reflecting surface is rough or irregular, which means not polished, then the reflection takes place is called the irregular reflection. Now student, next part is general terms. First one, mirror. What is mirror? Any smooth polished surface which can turn back the parallel rays of light into the original medium, as parallel rays is called mirror. Looking glass is the best example of the mirror. which means student mirror is an which means students any smooth polished surface which can bounce back or turn back the parallel rays of light into original medium as parallel rays is called the mirror. Incident ray, a ray of light which travels through an optical medium towards mirror is called incident ray. And reflected ray, a ray of light which bounces off the mirror surface into the same optical medium is called the in which the incident ray was traveling is called the reflected ray. And point of incidence, the point on the mirror surface where the incident ray strikes or the reflected ray bounce off is called the point of incidence. Next part is normal. The perpendicular drawn at the point of incidence to the surface of mirror is called normal. And angle of incidence, the angle which the incidence ray makes with the normal is called the angle of incidence. It is denoted as angle I, like this. Now student, just now I have read out some definitions. Now what are these definitions? Now look into the diagram. This is a plane mirror. This is called incident ray, which means a ray is traveling from one medium to the other medium, which means air to the glass. This is incident ray, and it is bouncing back from that point, which means mirror to the air again, bouncing back. This is called the reflected ray. And incident ray and reflected ray meet at a certain point. That point is called the point of incidence. Understood? And after that, incident ray, reflected ray met at a certain point of incidence, and if we draw one straight line or perpendicular particularly on that point, this is called normal. Incident ray made one angle with the normal. This is the incident ray making an angle with the normal. This is called the angle of incidence. And the reflected ray making an angle with the normal, it is called the reflected ray. That's why angle of incidence denoted as angle I, and angle of reflection denoted as angle R. This is the angle of reflection. The angle which the reflected ray makes with the normal is called the angle of reflection. It is denoted as angle R. Now next part is reflection of light. The phenomenon due to which a ray of light traveling from one optical medium to another bounces off the surface with the change of angle is called the reflection of light. Look student, look the diagram again. If the angle of incidence is this one, if the incident ray particularly in that point, then it will change the direction like this. If the angle of incidence in here, then it will come like that and will go like that. Definitely it will make some changes. If the incident ray is here, then it will come like that and will go like that. That's why the sentence written here mean that change of angle. Next one, laws of reflection. The reflection of light takes place from a reflecting surface according to definite law. These are known as laws of reflection. There are two laws. First one, the incident ray, the reflected ray, and the normal at the same point of incidence lie in a same plane. This is a plane mirror. This is a plane surface. Incident ray, normal, reflected ray lie in a same plane. Number 2, angle of incidence is always equal to the angle of reflection, which means student, this is the angle of incidence, which means angle I is always equal to the angle of reflection, which means angle R. Student, this activity you can try in your home, as because this activity is related to the angle of incidence, angle of reflections, incident ray, reflected ray, which means these activities depend on the laws of reflection. This is a plane mirror, and these are the pin. You can place the pin here or there, and you can see the observations. Student, next part is lateral inversion. The phenomenon due to which the left hand side of an object appears as the right hand side and vice versa in the mirror is called lateral inversion. Student, I am giving you one very easy example. If you stand in front of a mirror or plain mirror in your home, if you raise your right hand, it will be the left hand in the mirror, and if you raise your left hand, it will be the right hand in the mirror. This is called the lateral inversion. Next one, characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror. First characteristic is that image formed is virtual. It means the image cannot be taken on a screen. Number 2 point, image is of the same size as the size of the object, which means, student, if you stand in front of the plane mirror in your home, suppose 5 centimeter or 10 centimeter, then the image your image will be formed inside the mirror at the same distance, which means in 5 centimeter or in 10 centimeter. That's why object distance is equal to the image distance. Image is formed as far behind the mirror as the object is in front of it. Image is laterally inverted. It means left hand side of the object appears as right and right hand side of image and vice versa. And image is erect. It seems that the image is inside the mirror. Next one, formation of image in a plane mirror. First one, when object is a point source of light. Now let's see how the image formation is. Now student, look, this is a plane mirror and this is one object. O and L is the object distance and L and I is the image distance, which means object distance equal to the image distance. Suppose it is 5 centimeter, then image distance will be 5 centimeter. Now look student, object, now this is I1, which means this is the first incident ray and this is the first reflected ray. This is the second incident ray and this is the second reflected ray. Suppose a person is standing here. This person will see that the image is there with the equal distance. This is how the image formation of the point source of light. Now next part is that when object is an extended source of light. Next student, this is an object. Now for A, this is the incident ray, first incident ray, this is the second incident ray, and this is the first reflected ray and this is the second reflected ray. For B, this is the first incident ray and this is the second incident ray, and this is the first reflected ray and this is the second reflected ray. There is a person standing here and that person will see the image is formed here. This is a plane mirror, which means object distance is equal to the image distance. Next one student, kinds of reflection. In the first page of this chapter. Now student, next one, regular reflection and irregular reflection. In the first page of this video, when I started this chapter, I explained regular and irregular reflection. Again I am explaining this as because this is a new topic and it is better to help you now with the diagram. For the regular reflection, when a parallel beam of light on striking some smooth and polished surface is reflected as a parallel beam of light, such a reflection is called regular reflection. As you can see in the picture, this is a plane mirror and these all are the incident rays and all are parallel beam of light. After striking into the plane mirror, it is bouncing back. These all are the reflected ray and all are parallel. This is called regular reflection. Regular reflection helps in the formation of image and hence we can see our face in the mirror. Next one, irregular reflection. When a parallel beam of light on striking some rough surface is reflected in different direction, such a reflection is called irregular reflection. It is sometimes called diffuse reflection. Look student, if the surface is not regular, which means is not polished. If it is a rough surface, then obviously the incident ray, even though it comes in a parallel but cannot be reflect into a parallel, as because it will destruct it after striking into the surface of the irregular surface. Irregular reflection helps to spread the light energy over a vast area, and hence it helps in general illumination. Student, I am now giving you one example of the irregular reflection. Suppose the headlight of a bike or a headlight of a vehicle. Suppose you are riding a bike or vehicle, or driving a car. If you start the vehicle or if you start the bike, the front light will illuminate and it will spread up to the maximum distance. This is called the irregular reflection. An image which can be only seen by the eye but cannot be taken on the screen is called virtual image. This image may be laterally inverted but is always erect. Now student, there is a difference between real and virtual image. First one, real image can be taken on the screen. Virtual image cannot be taken on the screen. In real image, the rays of light after reflection meet at a point. In virtual image, rays of light after reflection appeared to meet at a point. Third point is, it is always inverted, which means real image is always inverted and virtual image is always erect but laterally inverted. Now next part is student, formation of multiple images. Now how to create the multiple image or how to form the multiple images with the help of mirror. Student, it is very easy actually. When two plane mirrors make an angle of 90 degree with each other, as you can see in the picture, this is one plane mirror, this is another plane mirror, and if we attach these two plane mirror perpendicular or 90 degree, now reflections can be taken place from here also, from here also. In this way we can produce or we can create the multiple images. Next point, when two plane mirrors make an angle of 60 degree with each other. And last point is when two plane mirrors are facing one another. This is one example of producing producing multiple images with the help of plane mirror, placing them 90 degree. Activity 16.5. Now I am going to show you how to produce the multiple images placing the plane mirror at an angle of 60 degree. Student, this is the diagram of the formation of multiple images placing the mirror at 60 degree, like this. This is the plane surface of a mirror, this is another plane surface of a mirror. Now multiple images can be formed as because the reflections can happen from this side also and this side also. It has been proved experimentally that numbers of images by two mirrors is given by the formula n equal to 360 by theta. That symbol is called theta. 360 by theta minus 1, where theta is the angle between two mirrors and n is the number of images. Look student, the angle made by the two mirror, this is called the theta, angle of between the two mirror, and n is the number of images. Look student, for example, the angle is given here 60 degree. Now place the value here 60 degree. 360 divided by 60, answer would be 6 minus 1, which means 5. If the two mirror placed at an angle 60 degree, then there would be 5 number of images. Understood student? Next one student, uses of plane mirror. They are used as looking glass. They are used by barbers to show the customer the back of his head. They are used for signaling by the scouts and the army personnel. They are used by the opticians to provide false dimensions when their place of work is very small, and many other uses are there, student. You just need to go through all the points. Next one, student, dispersion of light. Dispersion means scattering. There is an experiment. I am going to explain now how the light dispersed with the help of a prism. First one, student, there is a window and it is a small hole. Now if you allow to pass one single light through the hole, the white light will strike into the prism's this portion, means front portion, and it will disperse as 7 different colors. Viv Gior means violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. This is all about the dispersion of the light with the help of prism. Now, definition of dispersion: the phenomenon due to which white light splits into 7 colors when passed through an equilateral prism is called dispersion. Student, mind it, the prism should be equilateral, which means all sides equal. Next part is spectrum. The band of 7 colors obtained on the screen when white light split into 7 colors is called the spectrum. This is called the spectrum. Now, student, let's discuss another experiment. This is called recomposition of white light with the help of prism. Look, student, this is the first equilateral prism like this one, where you can allow one single white light which disperses into the 7 colors. But if you place one more prism inverted, and obviously the second prism should be equilateral, then this light or this dispersed light will meet into a certain point, which means the light comes in as white, disperse here, again it will assemble to make white light into the white screen. Next part is human eye. Now, student, eye is one of the important sense organ in the human body. The shape of a human eye is almost spherical. Look, this is the structure of a human eye. These are the various parts of the human eye. First one is cornea, then iris, then pupil, then aqueous humor, then ciliary muscles. This part is called optic nerves. This is blind spot, this is yellow spot, this is retina, this is choroid, this is sclera, and this is crystalline lens, this part. Now let's discuss one by one. First one, sclera. It is the outermost covering of the eyeball, which means outermost covering, this part. Its function is to house and protect the vital internal parts of the eye. Next part, cornea. It is the front bulging part of the eye. It is made of transparent tissues. Its function is to act as a window to the world, that is, allow the light to enter in the eyeball. This is the work of the cornea. Next part, choroid. It is a gray membrane attached to the sclera from the inner side. Its function is to darken the eye from inside and thus prevent any internal reflection. Optic nerve is the important one. It is a bundle of approximately 70,000 nerves originating from the brain and entering the eyeball from behind, which means this part from behind. Its function is to carry optical messages, visual messages to the brain, which means whatever we see is good or bad, these optic nerves send the message to the brain. Next part, retina. The optic nerve on entering the ball spreads like a canopy such that each nerve ends and attach itself to the choroid. The nerve endings from a hemispherical screen called retina. Hemispherical, which means like this. The retina are sensitive to the visible light. On the retina are two important areas which we will discuss separately. The function of the retina is to receive the optical message of the object and then convert it to electrical pulses. Student, now these are the cone shaped. This is cone shaped. Nerve ending are sensitive to bright light as well as the primary colors red, blue and green. They do not get excited in dim light, which means in low powered light these nerves cannot be excited. Rod shape. Nerves ending are sensitive to dim light but do not the color. The objects which we perceive as black and white or colored are due to excitation of cones and rods in different patterns. Student, like this yellow spot, blind spot and the crystalline lens, these are also the part of the human eye. You just need to read this properly because every parts of the human eye having some different functions and work. Next, first, ciliary muscles. It is a ring of muscles which holds the crystalline lens in position. When these muscles relax, they increase the focal length and crystalline lens and vice versa. Its function is to alter the focal length of crystalline lens so that the image of the objects situated at different distances are clearly focused on the retina. This is the work of the ciliary muscles. And last part is iris. It is a circular diaphragm suspended in front of the crystalline lens. It has a tiny hole in the middle and is commonly called pupil. The function of iris is to control the amount of light entering the eye. This is done by increasing or decreasing the diameter of pupil. Student, these three are also the part of the human eye. You just need to go through. Next one, student, what is normal eye? An eye whose ciliary muscles can alter the focal length of crystalline lens such that it can focus clearly the image of objects as near as 25 centimeter, which means in normal eye people can see or people can focus clearly the image of object at nearest 25 centimeter and as far as infinity clearly on the retina is called the normal eye. The least distance from which the normal eye can see clearly without any strain is called least distance of distinct vision. Its value is 25 centimeter for normal eye. The far off distance of distinct vision for normal eye is infinity. Next part, accommodation of eye. The process by which ciliary muscles alter the focal length of the crystalline lens so as to focus the nearer or the far off object clearly on the retina is called the accommodation of the eye. Next part, how eye focuses near objects. If the ciliary muscles contract and the decrease the focal length of the crystalline lens, then the eye focuses near objects. Next part is how eye sees far off objects. The rays coming from far off objects are almost parallel and hence on passing through lens meet at the principal focus. The next part is what is a defective eye. Any eye whose ciliary muscles cannot alter focal length of crystalline lens properly such that it is unable to see clearly either nearer object or far off objects or both is called defective eye. Student, if an eye can see nearer object clearly but cannot see far off objects clearly, then it is called short sightedness or myopia, and this can be overcome by using a concave lens. If an eye can see far off object clearly but cannot see the nearer object, then this defect of vision is called long sightedness, or it is called hypermetropia, and this can be overcome by using the convex lens. And sometimes an eye cannot clearly see neither nearer or the far off object. Such defect is called the presbyopia, and particularly in that case people use bifocal lens, which means the combination of concave and convex lens. Next part is persistence of vision. When the light falls on the retina of the eye, the impression of the image lasts for 1/16 of a second. This particular phenomenon, due to which the eye cannot distinguish between stationary objects when their image are flashed in less than 1/16 second on the retina, is called the persistence of vision. Student, next part is visually challenged or blind people. People are said to be blind when they cannot see. The blindness are of two types. One is curable blindness and other is incurable blindness. Now, in case of curable blindness, either the cornea or the crystalline lens becomes opaque due to some disease. Opaque means it doesn't allow to pass through light. Opaque means it does not allow the light passes through. If the crystalline lens becomes opaque, it is removed surgically, which means operation, and replaced by an artificial lens, and the sight is restored. But in case of permanent blindness, the problem starts with retina. The image formed on the retina is not transmitted to the brain, and hence the person cannot see. There is no cure for permanent blindness. Student, do you know who is this person? This person is Louis Braille. Louis Braille, himself a visually challenged person, invented in 1821 a method to exploit this improved sense of touch so that blind persons could read. The present Braille system was adopted in 1932. There is a Braille code for common languages, mathematics and scientific notation. Many Indian languages can be read by using Braille system. Braille refers to an approach in which text is printed on a thick sheet of paper using special symbols representing the letters of the alphabet. The symbols are made of up to 6 dots, forming a rectangular array or box of 2 horizontal dots and 3 vertical dots. The rectangular array or box is commonly referred to as a cell, such that each cell one or more dots are embossed so that they slightly project above the surface of thick paper. Students, these are the Braille alphabets, or you can say that symbols of Braille cells. A is like that, B is like that, C is like that, D is like that. All the alphabets are there. With the help of Braille system, a blind person can read the papers or other things, but these things should be written in a Braille system. Next part is care of eyes. Now this portion explains how to care of eyes. First one, wash your eyes twice every day, preferably with boiled and cool water, which means we have to wash our eyes twice every day with warm water or cold water. Blink your eyes from time to time while reading, watching televisions or doing any work which needs concentration, which means if we do any work with full concentrations, we need to blink our eyes time to time or after few minutes or few seconds. Do not read in a moving bus or train. We should not read anything in the moving bus or train. Do not rub your eyes when some dirt or insect gets into them. Either wash your eyes with clean water or consult with a doctor. If something being entered into the eyes, do not rub the eyes. In that case particularly, we have to wash our eyes or we should go to the doctor. While playing, while playing, never be careless as you can hurt your eyes. Too little or too much light is bad for the eyes. Insufficient light causes eye strain and headache. Too much light, that is direct sunlight or powerful lamp or laser torch, can injure retina, leading to loss of vision or blindness. Do not look at the powerful source or light directly. Always read at normal distance of vision. Do not read by keeping book too close or far away from the eyes. Get your eyesight checked twice a year. Wear spectacle if advised. These are some basic points how to take care of the eyes. Now student, our last topic is some well-known visually challenged persons. First one, Ravindra Jain. Ravindra Jain was completely visually challenged from birth. He obtained his Sangeet Prabhakar degree from Allahabad University. He has shown excellence as a lyricist, singer and music composer. Next was Helen A. Keller, an American, lost her sight when she was 18 months old. However, because of her determination and courage, she completed graduation and became a lecturer and author. She wrote a number of books, including The Story of My Life in 1903. And last one is Lal Advani. Himself visually challenged, established an association for special education and rehabilitation for disabled in India. He represented India on Braille problems in UNESCO. Here we are ending our chapter. This is all about the chapter light. If you are students, for more knowledge and informations, you have to read the chapter properly and thoroughly.